Hi, this is Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, the President, Founder, and Chief Listening Officer here at our network at USA Global TV and Radio. Thank you so much for your loyalty. Thank you so much to all of our guests, to our team members, to our sponsors, and to all of our elevated listeners. Here at USA Global TV and Radio, we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. We celebrate all of our team members, all of our guests, and all of our sponsors from around the world who come and lead their lives with their hearts to help other people walk into their greatness. If you'd like to be a guest on any of our shows, please go over to our website, usaglobaltv.com, and book your session. Please contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com and subscribe to our channel. Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is the Listening Mentor. Our topic is creative ways and courses to learn how to have better relationships. Caroline HEWARD, my co-host, is out on holiday today, and we have a very special person, another team member who knows all about the art of listening, as she and I have created courses together on our educational platform for elevated listening. Let's welcome Dr. Madeline Chan to the program. Hello.
Hi, Dr. JACALYN. Hello, and thank you so much for inviting me. It's so nice. Thank you. Yeah,
thank
absolutely.
You.
And thank you to Caroline HEWARD, and I hope she's having a lovely time for her holiday.
I do too. Hello, Caroline. So, Dr. Chan, as you know, we've worked very diligently to put together a package of courses to help people learn how to listen the old-fashioned way, as well as some really creative and heart-opening ways. And what I'd love to have you share with our audience is, for people just joining us, they don't know you, what is the work that you do, and why is elevated listening so important?
Thank you, Dr. JACALYN. Yes, well, my work that I do is I'm a singer-songwriter, and I help, through singing and songwriting, I help people to connect to their hearts, to help them to awaken to their true inner voice. And that's what I do. And in that way, I help people to awaken that voice within them. And at the same time, I can help people to bring out their life story into a song as well, with Songs for You, where we take your life story, whether it's a celebration or about going from adversity to awesome. That's Dr. JACALYN's title. And then that's what I do. I help to bring out, with Colors of the Voice, to help bring out your voice, combining your external voice and your inner voice to bring it to a nice balance. And that's what I do. I'm interested in helping people to awaken to their highest potential that they can be, and awaken to their true divine path as well. So that's me. Yeah, that's what I do.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chan. I appreciate that. Today, we're going to explore creative ways, and we're going to look at some of the courses that we've developed to help people really understand why it's important to listen at an elevated level, how you can listen at an elevated level, and when you can listen at an elevated level. So let's just start off with this conversation. You are a graduate of the power of listening, and you know that when you're listening in an elevated level, it's not possible to do it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because you have a life that you need to live.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I mean, it really takes a lot of focused attention when you have to listen. And it's almost like all your radars are just into one tunnel. And that is, in that space, I'm not doing anything else outside that space. I'm just listening. And it takes your energy. It takes a lot. It's hard work. It's like going to the gym and doing your solid core. I mean, I don't know about that because I don't do exercise, which I have to, and I will. But yeah, absolutely. The fact that it's brain work. You get exhausted by opening your ears to listen at a higher level.
It's so true. And I've shared this many times that by the end of today, after broadcasting for a week, I am just mentally exhausted because I spend so much time listening. And then after I'm done with the shows, I really can't listen to anything.
I don't know how you do it. The fact that, you have to have elevated listening, and you have how much time do you have between each program?
Sometimes I don't have any time because the shows run over, even though they're supposed to be 40 minutes.
Yeah.
People are so excited about being on the show, and then it's hard to just, say, okay, sorry. So yeah, so sometimes just back to back to back. And as you know, we don't use any scripts here. So it's strictly about following the conversation. So I want to go there next because I'm bringing up all these points that I think we really address in our courses, in the Power of Listening courses. So when you are setting aside time to be that elevated listener, hopefully you have an agreement with the other party that they've asked for permission, that is this a good time for us to speak? And then you provided the specifics. Dr. Chan, this is a good time for us to speak. I have about 10 minutes for you right now. How would that be?
Okay, that's quite pressure, because that's exactly as what we refer to as the elevator pitch, where you have a short amount of time to fill in the best way to express yourself and what you can offer and help that person. So yeah, that is pressure. But at the same time, if they've given you permission, then you can start to say what you want to say and get your point across, and they should be listening.
Exactly.
Now, that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. You, as the listener, have an opportunity to be very specific about what it is that you can offer the other person. So let's just do a little role play here. Dr. Chan, I had a crazy day. I really need to talk to you. Can I speak with you now? Well, you can't speak with me now because you're on a TV show. So how would you answer that?
Hi, Dr. JACALYN. I really would love to speak with you. But at the moment, I'm just currently on a TV show. But as soon as I finish the TV show, I will give you a call and we will have that conversation that you want to have with me.
Well, I want to talk to you right now because I'm out of control. I'm emotionally completely boiling over, and I need to talk to you right now. How many times do we do that? We almost like jumping up and down. I need it now. I want to talk to you now.
Right here, right now. But don't you think that's little kid syndrome? That's preschool. What we've been learned in schools. Tantrum, yes. Kid tantrums.
It's a tantrum. So that's something else that we want people to understand, that even though you had something happen to you, that it could be fantastic, it could be horrible in your perception, and you just need to dump it all on somebody else. You pick up that phone, the person answers, you don't give them any clue about what it is you're going to talk about. You just, and the person's in the middle of doing something, but they saw your name, so they thought, okay, let me pick up the phone because I know. We don't even think about the other person. And the point being, if I call up and I just unload on you, are you available to listen? No, because you're doing something else.
Do you know, going back to it, my mom used to say to me, Maddie, is it an emergency? Are you in a life and death situation? No. Is it an emergency? Are you in danger? No. All right then, dear, then I'll talk to you later.
Now, what did you do with that information, and how did you feel about receiving it?
Mom, I don't care. No, it's not that. But it's just, I've got to tell you now. I have to tell you now.
Now, why is it we feel that we have to tell the person now? It's very easy, because we're out of control. because we haven't done our own work inside. I'm guilty of it as well. And as we get older, now people are doing it to us. And now we think, oh, I remember when I was doing that. So we have a course called Setting Boundaries and Asking for Permission. And that's truly game changing, because once you start setting these boundaries or asking for permission, you'll see how people start to react to you, that you don't lose your cool. So if you were to call me on the phone and you were freaking out like that, and I asked you those questions and you said no, I'd say, well then, dear, I can speak with you tomorrow where I can give you my full undivided attention. Now, you're not going to like that, are you?
No, because we are in that, we as humans want it right here, right now. We want it now. We want the solution. We want everything right now. And because of this, it's pre-programmed into us. So that's why the beauty of elevated listening is an absolute must for us to evolve as human consciousness.
So true. So true. I love that. So I want people to take away this from this part of the conversation, that you can continue doing the same old thing that you're doing over and over again. You can look at your relationships and go, well, this doesn't feel so good, or I'm not getting the attention I need over here. But look at your own behavior. And here's another example that really falls under setting boundaries and asking for permission. How many times have you come home from somewhere, you're living with someone, and they're doing something, and you walk up and talk to the back of their head? Yes, blah, 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 blah. Now, do you think that they can pay attention to you when you're talking to the back of their head? No. Do you think you're getting their undivided attention when you're talking to the back of their head? But we do it anyway.
Yeah.
We do it anyway. Somebody's watching a movie, right? They've been watching this movie, looking forward to it. You come in front of them, in front of the TV, go, hey, blah, blah. Does it make any sense?
Have you ever done that? I haven't done that. I've never done that.
Yeah, I did it. I've done it many times.
Oh,
yes.
My mom's done it and my dad did it, honestly, but I've never done that. But talking to someone at the back of the head when I've come in from work, I've done that many times.
Yeah, and here's another example for people who go to the movie theater. You go to a movie, you pay the money, you get there, you're sitting down, you're watching the film, and somebody next to you goes, hey, I didn't get to tell you what happened at work today. Really? Really? We're watching Tom Cruise here. Okay, he's flying in his jet, and you want to tell me about your day right now? No. I'm sorry, but no.
But it's crazy. It makes you think the way that if they're not they're not taking account of actually what's happening in their now moment, actually what's happening there and then, right here, right now. Yet they want your attention right here, right now.
Yes, that's so true. So we're such emotional beings that to what your mother said, I love that. Is this a life and death situation? Are you in danger right now? If it's not those two things, then it can probably wait. And why is it that we talk about waiting? Because when we share, we want to know someone is fully present. How many times do you get upset about something? I've done this to my sister, and I'll call on the phone and say, listen, I've had an upsetting day. I need about 10 minutes. If you could just put the phone down, you don't even have to be there, and just let me blither on, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, because you just have to get it out.
Yes. But sometimes, so in that way, you think that and your sister's okay with that. She goes, okay, go ahead.
But she's actually listening though. She's actually listening. Now we have gotten to the point where, is this a good time? No, actually, it's not a good time. I'll have more time, because you want the time to be focused on them. Sure, yes. I can sit here and I can have this TV show with you, and at the same time, I could be listening to music, but I'm not fully present. Can I do them both? Yes, but I'm not going to do either one very well. Yeah. And I'm not going to satisfy what you need, what they need, or enjoy the music, because I can't do all of it at the same time.
You're just going to get a 50-50. basis. You're not going to get 100% listening or 100% watching. You're just going to get half the story, half the vision, half of everything just watered down.
I love that, watered down. That's a good expression. So I think we live in a world now where we're so busy rushing around and getting ourselves so worked up about things. I mean, mainstream news in and of itself, I really can't stand it anymore. Every single thing is just negative, but we're so used to that. And anything that happens, somebody cuts you off. You don't like the way your coffee tastes, whatever it is. It's like you just feel this need to just dump it on someone. And if you really want someone to listen to you, then you have to ask for permission, show respect, emotional integrity. Would this be a good time for me to tell you what a horrible day I had? Now, suppose you're having a great day. Do you really want to hear about my terrible day and my negative energy and the perspective that I'm looking at? Wouldn't it be better for you to feel like a good time might not be right now? It might be another time.
I agree with that, but at the same time, if it's someone that it's going to help them to feel better about themselves, I think it's about analyzing the situation, knowing that person. If that person could be, if they're not heard there and then, will they do damage to themselves? Will they do something destructive? So I just believe in, even if you're feeling on a high and you think, oh, I can't deal with her right now. We've done it many times. Or I can't deal with him right now. We've done it many times. But you know what? I've had situations where I didn't deal with that. And it's because I was on a high. That person suffered. And because that person suffered, and felt, oh, you didn't listen to me, there's blame. So therefore, with the blame, that energy connects these two people together. So you're going to feel it anyway. So I just believe it's about being aware and having the right words to say to them, rather than I just believe it's if you are in a high vibration, then if you know that person is prone to something, then it is your duty to set yourself free by helping that person. Because if you don't, you're going to get connected to it anyway.
I appreciate your perspective. And let me just give this disclaimer that neither Dr. Chan nor myself are therapists. We're not psychiatrists. We are just two people who are having a conversation. So here's what I say to that. Are we really capable of changing someone's behavior, changing someone's perspective, changing someone's mind? Or is that really something that is unique to each of us?
That's a good question. I think that some people just go about zombified, and they're not being aware of what's happening in that now moment. Therefore, it's difficult for them to even realize that they're not listening or they're not looking. They're not using their five senses in the full perspective, and listening is the most important. So yeah, I just feel, I don't know. I think that I'm losing myself, actually.
I can pull you back in.
Pull me back in. I'm going somewhere.
Here's what I want you to think about. What I want you to think about, our whole reason for having this program is to teach people how to listen at an elevated level. Now, obviously, there may be circumstances that are specific. If you have someone in your life who you know is prone to drama, or someone who is prone to needing attention, or someone who has mental health issues, that could be a different story. We're talking about, in general, holding a safe space for someone to share with you. So in that scenario, if you know someone is upset and you're having a great day, you can still set boundaries, because if you don't set boundaries, Dr. Chan, what happens is people start to walk on you, and all of a sudden you don't exist anymore. You get smaller and smaller and smaller because you're always giving and giving and giving. So in that scenario, you're having a great day, someone calls you up, they're not having a great day. You don't have to throw it in their face that you're having a great day. You can say, you know what, Susan, I would love to hear what you have to say. I have about 15 minutes right now. Will that be okay for you? Blah, blah, blah. And then just start going. Now, when they get to the 15 minutes, you have a commitment that it's now not a good time for you to speak, and you have to stick with that. If the person is in a situation where they are at danger, again, that's another situation. We talked about that. If it's an emergency, if they're not safe, that's a different situation. We're talking about the everyday life, the things that come up every day that just annoy us or make us upset or whatever the case may be. So that's setting boundaries and asking for permission. And
I love that.
Thank you. Thank you. So the next thing that we are going to talk about is, what are some of the things that people do to make themselves more prone to not being heard? Let's go through some of them. The first is interrupting. How many times have you been in a conversation with someone? I see it here on this platform all the time. A guest is talking, and I see someone in the corner going, they can't wait to say something. And the guest didn't even finish talking yet. We don't even know where they're going with it, but we have something so important because they said a couple of words, holiday trip. And you're like, oh, I have to talk about my holiday trip. I'm just going to keep interrupting. So interrupting is disrespectful. And once again, it comes back to what we learned from the British School of Excellence. It's about taking a deep breath and calming ourselves down. Let the other person finish their story. And when they're finished their story, acknowledge what they've had to say. Because how many times do we let somebody finish? This actually just happened to me. I was telling somebody something on the phone, and I finished, and he didn't say anything, and then switched to a new subject. And I felt like I was here with this basket that I just delivered, and he went like this. So
it's like, he trashed. It's like he trashed your new paint, your new apartment that's beautifully painted, and you've created that beautiful picture. Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with you there. You know, it's in the way that you said that where the children, the way that we have this childish behavior, and if somebody doesn't acknowledge what you've just spoken, or at least listened and said something in response to that, and they change the subject like this without giving you permission or without even letting you know, you feel you've been robbed. You feel like, oh, so then you feel like a child, you know, they're a child by doing that, by not acknowledging
exactly
that you've taken that time to explain something, and they could at least say, acknowledge, I've listened to this. They don't have to repeat word for word, but certain key elements.
So true.
Key points they can do.
So true. Yeah. And you know, as an elevated listener, just because you're having a conversation with someone doesn't mean you're listening at an elevated level, because you don't have that agreement. The agreement is, I need to share something with you. I need your full undivided attention. If you don't set the boundaries, like what we just talked about, then you can't expect that the person or persons are going to give you that undivided attention. So case in point, you come home from work and you see somebody that you live with sitting there, and they're on the phone, and you sit down and you just start having a conversation, but the person's on the phone. You can't get annoyed at the person because you didn't ask for their undivided attention. You didn't say, listen, I need to speak with you. May I have your undivided attention? No, actually not now because I'm doing XYZ. Or I'd love to. How about after dinner? So this is where we have a responsibility to set boundaries and ask for permission, because otherwise we're going to be frustrated, we're going to be disappointed, and our relationships are not going to be strong ones.
Absolutely, I absolutely agree with you there. We have to now begin to respect people's spaces. So like you were mentioning, someone's on the phone and they're engaged on the phone in conversation or writing or text, whatever it is. By you just coming in and you're intervening.
Yes.
And then you expect full attention. How can that be?
Dr. Chan, I have to tell you, I remember I was in a relationship and the guy was on the phone with a deal, work meeting, whatever. And I was like, I need to talk. So finally I wrote it down and just put it in his face while he's on the phone. I'm like, like real. And he's like, no. I'm like,
later.
It's like they're negotiating something for work, and you want to know about the shopping list or something. It's not about devaluing anything, but again, it's about being respectful. Can you wait 5 minutes before you go to the grocery store? I don't know. If not, can you go there and make a decision yourself, or maybe send a text message? But we want that immediate attention, and we want it when we want it. So going back to these 4 areas that people sometimes misstep, don't know, overstep, we understand about interrupting. The second one, this one drives me crazy, is providing a solution. We have somebody who's committed to listening to us. You're giving me that half hour. And throughout the conversation, you keep coming up with ideas of how to fix me or how to fix my problem. And I didn't ask you to fix me, but yet you feel you must, because now you don't have to listen anymore. So let's just have a little role play here. We don't have anything planned, but let's just have a role play. Let's see. Dr. Chan, I'd really like to speak to you for about the next 5 minutes about something I'm working on. Would this work for you right now?
Yeah, it would actually. I've got a spare 5 minutes. Yes, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Go ahead.
Thank you so much. So, and now you're going to fix my problem as I'm going through, okay? So what I've been thinking about is that I want to put together a new course, and it's going to be for children. And I'm thinking that I really want to work with you on it, and we could launch it probably within the next 2 weeks.
Oh, that would be just great. Because I've been looking at the way you've been doing your courses, and I especially love the way that you're working with the new children's series. And oh yeah, that's fantastic. You could work with one of the animal characters, and you get what I'm saying here. Yeah.
Yeah. Now see what she just did for people watching or listening. She came up with a solution. I didn't ask her for a solution. And even though she'll be involved, I was just telling her what my thoughts were. So now I don't even know where I was going because she interrupted me. She gave me a solution that I didn't ask for. So how could it have been different? She could have waited until I was finished, because maybe I was going to take the story in another direction, but we'll never know now. Had she waited, then she would have shown me the respect. She would have acknowledged what I said. And then she could say, by the way, based on what you just shared, how about something like this? That's a different scenario.
And that's what we learn on foundational courses of elevated listening. Because I didn't even know about how to listen properly until I met you, Dr. JACALYN, until I actually went and signed up and went on foundational course 1 and 2. I really urge everyone, honestly, anyone, I don't care if you're a high court judge, if you're a blooming, whatever job you're coming from, high profile, whatever it is, whether it's everyone needs to understand about true listening on an elevated level.
Yes.
Because this world, it's not going to get any better if we don't listen. It won't. It's going to get worse.
Well, of course, to your point and to the show you did before this, we have an opportunity to awaken. We have an opportunity to leave the ego-based decisions and behaviors that we've been exhibiting for so many years. And elevated listening is really one of those things. So we know about providing a solution. We know about interrupting. The next one is judgment. And this happens all the time. It doesn't have to be big issues. It can be little issues. You're talking with someone, they've given you this time to share whatever it is, and you say something and they think to themselves, is she pro guns? I didn't know she was pro guns. I'm not pro guns. And now you switched off. Is she pro abortion? Is she a Republican? Is she siding with Harry and Meghan? Or and all of a sudden, boom, you switch off because you judge what the person said and you never heard the rest of what they had to say. And now you look at that person, that she's this, he's that, they're this, and you're totally turned off and they're left with nothing. So that relationship probably definitely is over or going to end soon because you did not hear and you judged. You had no curiosity or interest in growing by hearing someone else's perspective. You don't have to believe them. You don't have to agree with them. You just have to listen and let them share what they need to share. What are your thoughts about that?
Absolutely, I agree with you. I also believe in that way. There's also clever people that are quite use a third person as an example. So rather than saying, oh, I think this of you, I think this of you, or make that other person feel that's what they think of them, by them introducing, oh, a third person that is actually, so they put that third person to accuse that person. So it takes them out of the equation, and the person that thinks it's they're being pro against, whether it's pro-abortion or pro whatever the topic of conversation is, we have to be aware that there are tricksters, people that are clever in using other subjects rather than themselves. So we have to be careful with that as well.
I agree. I know people who do that.
Yeah. Oh, so and so did this and this. My friend did that. Always. They always use another third person rather than themselves.
Yes, definitely accurate. And when we look at the last behavior, which is really ineffective listening patterns, the last one I tied to interrupting, but this is stage hogging. And it happens all the time. You're sharing your story and then someone wants to one up you. Oh, she got a new car? Well, let me tell her about my new car. And all of a sudden you're there with your car. Nobody's listening. They're driving away and they're going on about their car. And it doesn't have to be something huge. It could be something very small. It could even be about a conversation you had with somebody, and then they take it to a new level. Oh, well, I had a conversation with her last week, and it's not respectful. And again, why are we doing this? Why are we having this conversation? Because there's so much strife in the world. There's so many people butting heads and so much anger and volatility that if we actually took the time to listen to one another, I don't believe we'd be having all this.
I totally agree with you in the way that we call it. I'm familiar with that term of keeping up with the Joneses. And where you had the baby boomers from that year of the baby boomers, and everything was about having the home in immaculate condition and having, if that neighbor bought a car, then you've bought a car that's better, that's of a higher quality. Everybody was one-upmanship, keeping with the Joneses. And therefore, if that was happening in our outside reality, then that would be going into our subconsciousness. So we will find that we naturally act out that because it's what we are familiar with.
It's very true. That's very true. These behaviors of listening patterns, whether they're effective or ineffective, are probably something that we grew up watching or surrounded by the people in our circle, watching how they communicate with one another. And if you think about it, I'm not in a relationship now, thank goodness. But when I think back to some of the relationships that I was in, I never felt like I was actually heard because I was always told, you can't do that. I don't have time to listen to this. I'm working on this. This deal's really important, or whatever the case may be. So when you feel that you haven't been heard for decades, then you can start to disappear. And that's what I mentioned in the beginning of the show about self-esteem. We all have a need to be heard. And so that's why we want to create environments where you are heard and you are listening. So thank you for listening so far to what we've been talking about. Dr. Chan, we're going to look at a clip that we put together about the power of listening. And what I want to emphasize in this, and then I'm going to turn to you for describing a certain portion of it. We're going to watch a video where we see some individuals who are going through difficult times and they don't feel like they've been heard. But what we come to learn is that they have a choice. And, why don't I run the clip first and then we can talk about that? Yeah, I think that makes more sense. Okay, so let's take a look here at our video called The Power of Listening. Here it is. You feel so frustrated. Why won't anybody hear what you have to say? You're filled with anxiety. You feel so isolated and alone. You're desperate for a connection with someone out there in a world that just seems to keep rushing by. Stop. You have a choice. Learn how to listen at an elevated level through the Power of Listening educational courses available on usaglobaltv.com. A world where you manifest everything you need and desire through the power of listening. The Power of Listening educational courses are available today for you to feel and know you have connected and you have been heard through elevated listening skills. The Power of Listening educational courses and children's books available today on usaglobaltv.com. Dr. Chan and I worked on that over the weekend. So let's give the audience a little insight. We got together virtually over the weekend. I think it was Saturday or Sunday, or Monday. I don't even know when it was, but it was very recent. And we thought about how people are living these lives that are not filled with meaning and happiness and joy. And then we together thought about how to show that and then come up with stop. You have a choice. Tell us a little bit about that.
About stop, you have a choice? Yeah, because we do have a choice. And we've only just started to realize now it's become more public domain that you do have a choice. Instead of us having to deal with what was programmed with us from how we've been grown, how we've been brought up, and what has been around us. Yes, the fact now, the more trend now is about you have a choice. We've always had a choice, but unfortunately, society has made us not have a choice.
Absolutely right. And I think part of what we're also talking about here, and I have to throw myself in here as well, there are things that trigger us. And people who love us, who know us, they know how to push buttons. We know how to push buttons. And as soon as the buttons or the levers are pulled, we stop listening because we get so emotional. It comes back again to that whole emotional elements that we have to react. And again, how we show up is on us. How you interact with someone is on you. So I can come to you with something that pushes your button, something that I know is just going to twerk you the wrong way. And you have a choice. Are you going to react like you always do? This is hypothetical. Or are you going to actually take a step back and be bold and empowered?
I must admit, I've been in that experience where I did react because I felt people sometimes, in my experience, one of my exes would always be attacking in his words. And if he wanted to explain something to me to help me, instead of explaining a different way, he would attack. And at that point, there was attack. I close off. I close down completely and just go into, I would attack him then verbally. So there's no calmness, there's no clarity. It's just going to be one amount of fog and then the other, understanding and misunderstanding doesn't get anywhere, because one did not listen and one didn't approach in the right way to convey what they wanted to say. They were attacking. So unfortunately, some people, and it's understandable, we don't know how to talk to each other or listen to each other.
So true. So true. Dr. Chan, I want you and everybody who's watching or listening to just imagine this scenario. You're in your home and someone's there with you, family member, loved one, whomever. And the other person is extremely upset. They're yelling and screaming and they're out of control. Now, you have some choices. You can start yelling and screaming back. Imagine you have the two people now, they're yelling and screaming at each other, right? And it's just like this fire keeps building and building. And now more nasty things keep coming out and somebody walks away, slams the door. Or you have the one person yelling and screaming and you just stand there. You stand there and you show no reaction whatsoever. What do you think is going to happen?
Two ways. It depends if that person is the anger is just rising and raging, such a rage that they could do something physical, destruction, like pick up an object and throw it in anger. So it could escalate. Or it could be, wait a minute, they're not reacting. They're not doing anything. Hey, why are you standing still? It's almost like a conversation stopper.
Mm-hmm. Exactly right. Because you're not putting fuel on the fire. You're not losing control of yourselves. And I know from my own experience, because I had a relationship like that ended rather quickly, but I found myself looking at the person in a different light. And that person even looked at themselves in a different light because they were completely out of control. When you're in control of yourself and you really believe it, you've worked on yourself, you are awakened, you have confidence, you know that what this person is saying is completely out of control and based on emotion, you feel so much better about yourself. When you lose it yourself, you hate yourself. You're just like, look at me. I can't even control myself. How can I control anything else?
It makes it a wrong. Two wrongs don't make a right.
Exactly.
You can't have two positives or two, you have to negative and positive to bring that balance. So therefore, whoever's you have to do this. You have to just, like you said, just stop your body action, just remain still. And maybe they'll carry on until they're blue in the face or red in the face. But at some point, when they start to realize, are they listening? Are they present? Are they actually here anymore? Because if you remain still, it's like you disappear.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So energy-wise, you've disappeared. Therefore, your energy is not working with their energy. You cut it off. So you've disappeared. You might as well have left the room. That's what it means when you leave the room. Metaphysically, you have to. So that's great. Yeah, I absolutely agree in that way. It has to be done.
And by the way, to your point that you just mentioned, you have the option to leave the room as well. You don't have to subject yourself to that because the person's clearly not listening. And that can be very destructive to someone emotionally, physically, to be in an environment like that. And we're not talking about environments where people are hitting each other. I mean, of course, that's abusive as well. Yeah. But there is verbal abuse and you don't have to take it. or it could just be that somebody's having a bad day and they're just angry and taking it out on you, but you don't have to take it because the person's not listening. It's not going to be a productive conversation. So we talked about judgment, interruption, problem solving, and stage hogging. These are 4 behavior patterns that when you're an elevated listener, you will at least be aware of when you're doing this. We also talked about setting boundaries, asking for permission. Now what I'd like us to do is actually take a look at the courses, and we'll go through what each one is about and where people can actually sign up for the courses. And disclaimer, these courses are for everyone. I literally cannot think of one person who cannot benefit from taking these courses. And we've priced them so that it's reasonable for people to be able to take them. When I see courses for $6,000, $10,000, $100,000, I mean, we're talking, our courses are less than $50, I think, for almost all of them in terms of the listening series. So let me share my screen. And for those of you who are listening on a podcast or radio platform and you can't see what I'm going to be showing, we're going over to usaglobaltv.com. Can you see this, Madeline?
I certainly can. I can see the reunion show. Yes.
Fantastic. Okay. So you're just going to go over to more, and you're going to go to education. And here we have the power of listening that we just saw the video.
Yeah.
And again, I ask you, whomever is out there, is that you in the video? Is that you? Are you depressed? Are you frustrated? Do you feel like no one's listening to you? We can help you manifest what you require and desire through elevated listening. So we have our coaches. There are actually 4 of us. There is, let's see if we get, there's Dr. Chan right there. There's myself.
Dr. JACALYN.
Definitely needing a new headshot. Wearing the same dress, by the way. There's Janetta Barry and there's Caroline HEWARD. So they're the coaches. And then, of course, we have our Listening Lazy song, which we'll get to in a minute with the significance of that. So here are the courses. So the first course that we suggest that you take, and when I say suggest, the word is actually require if you want to become a team member at USA Global TV and radio. But if you're looking to elevate your knowledge on how to be a better listener, you can start the courses. I would recommend the foundational course, but you could start with music, voice, and listening. Dr. Chan, tell us a little bit about this course and what people can expect to take away from it.
Yes, of course I will. Music, voice, and listening. It's about understanding about the breath. We have to understand how to take our breath so that when we're in a situation that we feel uncomfortable or we get some form of emotional fear, we have to take the breath to calm ourselves, to bring us back to neutral. The voice is about connecting to your true voice, your voice in what you want to do with your life. So we look at how to work your dream or what you want to achieve into an affirmation, positive affirmation, so that you become familiar and you say this without even realizing you're saying it. So it becomes a routine, a ritual. And also to understand about emotional intelligence, to recognize when we are coming from a intelligent emotion or whether we're coming from a victim emotion. So we have to recognize this. It's fun as well. It's a lot of fun.
Yes.
And it's role playing. We show a lot of role plays, and then we have to see what that person was feeling at that time. So we look at not only listening, but we look at the emotions they were emitting during that role play or during that the film, the video.
Yeah, the role plays were a lot of fun, that's for sure.
Yeah, they were, weren't they? Yes. So that's music, voice, and listening.
Thank you, Dr. Chan. One thing I want to mention, I should have said this before, the foundational course is where we actually also look at role plays and we look at scenarios with interruption, judgment, providing solutions, and stage hogging. So I feel that one really sets the stage for people to actually get the basics and then explore creative ways to listen. And that's where we go in music, voice, and listening. When we go to the next course, which is called the transition, and I'll just read what it says here. Set yourself free from pressures of society and the media. Learn how to transition from the trends and your limited shadow self. So in this one, and Dr. Chan, I'll ask you to jump in as well, we're looking at something that we become very fixated on, especially as Americans. And of course, not all Americans. I'm just saying that the trends, what's the latest in that? What's the latest in this? What are people griping about? What are people wearing? Where are people going? What are they doing on social media? We get so caught up in all of that, and we go into just leading our lives with our ego and competing and judging and lower vibrations, negative energy, to being uplifted and to transitioning to where we're leading with our hearts. And Dr. Chan, what else would you say about this?
Yeah, I would say about when we start to recognize, to wake up, it means we need to, before we need to look at our behaviors, we need to analyze and be aware of when we slip into the old behavior belief system. Belief system, I don't mean religious, I mean belief system with on emotional level, physical level, mental level, and a feeling body level. When you slide into negative emotions and negative response, a victimhood, to when you can change that. And you have to do that by awakening to your shadow self. And what the transition does, it helps you to discover your shadow self and helps you to have tools to deal, to handle your shadow self, and know and recognize when your fear-based lower emotions are acting up.
Very well said. Good description. Thank you. And from there, we move into male and female energies. And what we have here is female with male energy, action, doer, thought, inspiration to enhance your daily life's decisions and in contact with your infinite potential. So Dr. Chan, in working with you as my vocal coach, you helped me become aware of the fact that I typically am operating in my masculine energy. Go, get this done, check things off. And I need to tap into my feminine energy as well. So for people out there who don't understand male and female energies, can you explain a little more?
Yes, absolutely. Well, male and female energies, first and foremost, is not to do with gender base. It's to do with energies. So therefore, when a male energy is the action, the doer, the provider. Now, the female energy is the compassion, the heart, the nurturing, the caring, maintaining. So in that way, when you operate, when you work in your life, whether it's at work or just being at home or wherever you are, sometimes more male energy is needed rather than female energy. And some people, and I've done it myself, use the wrong energy at that particular scenario or event or that emotion or that moment that's happening, moment in time. At that moment, they respond with the wrong energy. And therefore, when they do that, there's a conflict. So you may get a beautiful woman, absolutely stunning, beautiful woman, but she may have more male energy. Now, we have to ask ourselves, why does a man go for a beautiful woman? So we have to understand the way that a man may go for a beautiful woman, but if she has more male energy, the man is more prone to go for the male energy rather than the female energy, because men, this world has been induced, is empowered with male energy. And I don't mean male gender, I mean male energy. The year of the soul happened where female energy was born, not female gender. This is where it's getting confusing. So the female energy is being brought through. The female energy is connected to earth, to our feelings, to our soul. The soul, the feeling body is our female, and that's what we're learning to wake up to. Not the male energy, but the female energy, because the female energy has been absent from this world, and now she's woken up.
I can totally relate to what you're saying. And just a quick share. This has happened in my life. I'm not in a relationship for a long time now, but I've been in relationships showing up the way that I am, which is go, 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 whether it's working out, I've got to push myself to the limit for everything. And then invariably I will hear this: what happened to soft, sweet Jackie? No, Jackie doesn't exist anymore, number one. But soft, sweet Jackie, where's that sweet? No, that person, it's the masculine energy, because I have a lot of things to get done. So I think they're attracted to the masculine energy, but crave that female energy, like from their mother.
I agree with you. I really do. But there's a lot of women out there that are absolutely stunning goddess women, stunning in their look, their personality, just stunning. Well, just mainly in their look, the cover. And men will go for them. But why do they go for them? Because they're not so much in their female energy.
Mm.
They need to strive to be the best. They need to be fully made up for that role. Yes. That is male energy.
And there's a lot more people can learn by taking that course. That was a fun course to do as well.
Yes.
And we've got, we have a little time left. So let's go next to nature, plants, and shrines. And let me just read this one. Learn to connect to Mother Nature through a meditative state. Feel your plant's energy, experience music frequencies, build your own shrine. Now, Dr. Chan, I think what's different about this one than some of the other ones is that you really led and did this entire course by yourself. And so you walked us through your garden area. And from the garden area, you led a meditation, and then you helped us learn how to build a personal shrine, which is not a religious shrine. Tell us more about what people can experience. This is a hands-on course, really.
Well, I would say, Dr. JACALYN, that this brings out the child essence. We have become so serious in society. We've forgotten about what made us happy, what brought us joy. And for me, building a shrine is when I go for a walk, I might find something like little stones or a certain rock shaped like a heart, and it will catch my eye. Have to put it on there. Certain color, certain crystals I put on there. Basically, it's you put everything that makes you feel happy and you identify yourself with. So with the planting, what's interesting is that when you plant something and you're fully engaged, you're not somewhere else, your mind, body, spirit, all your attention, focused attention is on that plant. And as you're planting the plant, you feel its energy, you feel something, you feel just, you find that you don't start thinking about anything else, because it's just you and that plant, or you and that seed of that plant. It's like a ceremony. It's sacred.
So cool. So you know what I want to share with you, which I think it's interesting to me. I don't know how you'll feel about it, but before I met you and before I met Amina, the pet psychic, I really was in another world. And now I can walk into a room. This is going to sound crazy. I can walk into a room and know if there's a bug there. I just feel there's something in the room that's, the energy has switched. And I never felt that way before I started this platform with you two and others who have really helped me realize that there's more to life than just us.
And it's a wonderful world as well. It really is. It's almost like a microscopic world. It's like a metaverse.
Yes. Yes. Great word. Metaverse. All right. We're moving over to our next course, Intuition of the Heart. And I'll just say, just in all clarification, that chakra psychology is it's Caroline HEWARD. She's a therapist. It's Caroline HEWARD, the Harley Street stress expert. It's her course. And this one's about chakras. So when she comes back, we'll have her explain about that one. And we already went through setting boundaries and the power of listening. So let's close out on Intuition of the Heart. And I'll read what we have here. Learn how to identify divine love showing up in your life. Apply divine love to awaken your soul heart and be aware of your ego heart. What does this mean, Doctor?
There's going to be a lot of confusion. Right. So basically, unconditional love is what we do on a humanitarian level. We help each other. If someone's in trouble, our natural response is to help. We also work in communities to help each other, unconditional love. Now, we have what you call divine love. Now, divine love is about journeying within. It's in our inner world, and it's where we have the soul, our soul self, our authentic true self, and our heart is of divine love. So on the outside reality, you give out unconditional love. But to yourself, it's called divine love because it's a higher love connected to your higher consciousness. It's not subconsciousness, which is it's a higher consciousness, and there's soul language, certain words that contain a higher vibration that help you to awaken and bring on and help to manifest all you desire and require, because you're coming from a heart center rather than a human. You're coming from the inner beingness. Basically, think of it as a hero, right? Everybody needs a hero. Well, let me tell you something. That hero is in us. It lives within us. And the hero within has the heart of the hero. And that's what divine love is. It's the heart of the hero that lives within us. And it's there as to help guide us in our life, to help us to come up to decisions, help to get us on to our mission in life, help us to have the best experience in our life, because it keeps us in a high vibration, and the ego self does not interfere with divine love, because the divine heart, the heart, the soul, the ego cannot interfere with the soul itself. And that's what we do on this course. We help to, first of all, awaken. Already your love will be awakened. Unconditional love will be awoken by the time you come to this course, because you have to take some of the other courses, like the transition. You will have to take that in order to come onto this course, because in order to have divine love, you have to be aware of your shadow self. So, and it's all exciting. We do some meditation as well, and it helps you to come out of any situation and helps you to elevate yourself, so you uplift your vibration, and you're not so affected when someone talks to you in a low vibration, because you realize they're not awake yet. So therefore, it's okay. It's okay.
I love the way you just shared that. That's so true. You give people grace and just say, hey, they're not where I am. I'm not where they are. And I don't need to engage in an argument or call them out. I'm just going to give them grace. So thank you for gracing us with the information about our courses. We will be adding a couple of more courses on here as we go on. So let me stop sharing. And I want to share, people are probably thinking, I'm interested in taking these courses. How do I find out where they are, how much they are? And the first thing I want to share is that you can actually access the courses from usaglobaltv.com, or you can go directly to the platform where we have the courses, which is Thinkific. So I'm going to show that right now.
Fabulous.
And I also want people to remember this, that we have priced the courses so that I think it's doable for people to be able to take them. And if you can't pay it all one time, you can just reach out and let us know. And if you've already taken the courses, I guarantee you forgot something already, because I can just see from the foundational course that people have forgotten what they learned in some regards because they're not practicing it. So here's where you go. You can see it's drjacalyn.thinkific.com/collections. And if you can't see that, because I can see it, we'll put the link over in the comment section. So here are the courses: $39, $49, $49, $27, $47, hike. Okay, like a football team. And then we also have chakra psychology. So you can go over to the website. Also, as I mentioned, just go over to USA Global TV and you can find them right there. And we've made it fairly easy for people to start their journey of awakening with elevated listening. And Dr. Chan, I want to thank you. I also want to talk quickly about a new course that is coming out as of February 7th. It is a course for people who are serious about podcasting, serious about hosting a TV show or a radio show. And as a disclaimer, the elevated listening courses that Dr. Chan and I and Caroline have put together are really for people to embrace in their personal life, in their business life, on their journey, whatever it might be. This particular course, and I'm going to put up the graphic now, this is for people who are in the business of interviewing other people. So this is a serious course. This is for somebody who's serious about being a professional interviewer. And why do I say that? Because this is something where I'm giving my time and I'm charging accordingly for it. So I think this is $279 for this course. It's a 2-hour course that's live. I'll be giving it on February the 7th at 3 o'clock Eastern time, 8 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time. And what you can expect to learn in this course is, first of all, you're going to hear from some international accomplished broadcasters who are going to share some tips that they have for how to be a professional interviewer. And also for many people on this platform who work as a co-host, we're going to hear from a team of broadcasters who've been working together for years. How do you make that teaming, that concept work, and how are you the most professional interviewer that you can be? So again, this course is the art of being a professional interviewer. It's available on Eventbrite, which we do have a banner for people, which is here. And I urge everyone, not people who are doing it as just something on the side, but people who are really serious about what they're doing with their career and where podcasting and broadcasting and interviewing can take them. And also, I think it's important to mention that when you are in a position like that, where you basically have somebody else's time and journey in your hands, how can you show up as professional as possible to leave people feeling that they were heard, that you didn't just bring them on a show and babble on and they never got to share what it is they wanted to share. So thank you for listening. Dr. Chan, last words from you before we head out today?
I'm just going to say thank you so much for inviting me on this fabulous show and this amazing platform, USA Global TV Radio. I'm just so honored. And I actually have learned something as well today, even about elevated listening. You learn every day. So I really feel honored to be able to, each day is about learning. And with USA Global TV and Radio, as you said, you bring hope, inspiration, you elevate listening, you help people to listen. And I love the idea about becoming an interview, to be having tools to learn to become a very good interviewer. I love that. So Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much for being here. And believe me, I could just stand here and talk to you all day. I really enjoyed it. And I do want to give credit to Diane Floyd-Bame, who actually reached out to me last night about putting together a course to help people with interview skills. And I have to say that my journey in corporate for 28 years is where I helped to hone my skills, because I was interviewing C-level executives from some of the biggest companies in the world, and they don't have a lot of time to play around. You know, they want to know that you research their company, that you understand, and that you're listening, because 99% of that meeting is listening, not talking.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you a question just before we go.
Sure.
How long do you think someone can have elevated listening? I remember we said for an hour, but really, real true elevated listening, how long can someone listen at an elevated level?
I think that's a great question, and I think it depends on the individual, and I'll give you an explanation of that. So I feel like my skills as a listener have evolved over time, because I can remember people telling me, wow, you're a really great listener. And my father was a great listener, but I still would be multitasking. And I truly believe that I could multitask and listen. And I learned that that is not possible. So my point is, depending on where a person is in their listening journey, some people are obviously better listeners than others. But I do believe that if you are committed, let's say you're a coach. If you're a coach and you have a client, I know in my role as a coach, I'll ask a question that is meant for the person, my client, to really think. And I will not interrupt them. I will literally be staring at them, and they're staring at me, and they are not saying anything. And they're waiting for me to say something, and I am not saying anything, because I'm waiting for them to have this epiphany moment. And the minute you jump in, that moment's gone. But we're so used to being uncomfortable in the silence. We hate the silence. It's like, but we have to relish the silence. So my point is, the more that you work on this, the longer you're going to be able to listen at an elevated level.
It certainly is an art in every way. I mean, we've been here now for like 1 hour, 11 minutes.
Yes, we have. And I have a meeting in 4 minutes.
1:11. And I can feel myself, and I'm being absolutely honest with you, I can feel myself now going, oh, I'm not fully listening. Right? I'm going to tell you the truth. I listened, and I was elevated, and I listened, but it's like I feel myself weakening. Well, because
that's okay. You realized it. Listen, that's so your time might be, if we look at the hour and 12 minutes, how much of the time would you say that you really have been listening at an elevated level?
I have. That's why I'm tired, because I've really listened to everything as much as I can, and as much as I can, I'm able to. But because of that, it's been double the amount of energy I've used, double the amount, everything double, rather than just wavering.
You're right. That's what I said from the beginning.
Concentration.
It's a job. It's a job being an elevated listener, but it's so rewarding. And I guess what I'll leave us with is that, because I do so many shows and they're back to back, and I don't have time to run to the restroom or time to do this or that, I've acclimated to it. So I think to myself, maybe this person who's coming on the show, maybe this is the only interview they've ever done, or maybe it's the bazillionth interview that they've done. They deserve my undivided attention. They booked in here for a reason. And if I don't give them my undivided attention, they're going to go away feeling unheard. It's going to hit my brand. People are going to start talking, oh, don't go on that show, because, you know, they don't really care. They're not listening. But I've worked on it. And so you've got at least an hour. We know right now you have at least an hour that you can be fully present. So I think you should work with that, Dr. Chan. And when people come to you, you know how you feel right now. Maybe you'll give them 30 minutes. You give them 45, and give yourself some grace.
Yeah. I've learned something about that. But also, let me just add, I really feel that you should go in the Guinness Book of Records to be the most super elevated listener in the whole world, because
Well,
there's no other network. You're so highly original. You really are a leader in this. And honestly, I do believe that have a little chat with Red or something. You can get into the Guinness Book of Records and be registered and be acclaimed for this.
well, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know. I'll look into it, but
Yeah,
thank you.
I do believe you will be
Yeah.
celebrating and telling us that USA Global TV Radio is in the Guinness Book of Records.
Woo, yay.
I know it is. I know.
Well, this is the producer in me. We have to go because I have another meeting, but I do want to spotlight myself and just say I highly recommend this book. This book is called Star Child. It's by Dr. Madeline Chan. Look how beautiful it is. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. And inside, it's just as beautiful as well. You could see some of the fabulous illustrations. You can pick up this book over on Amazon, and it's definitely a worthwhile read. Dr. Chan, can you sum up just in a couple of sentences what people will take away from reading this book?
To be able to help know that Mother Earth is in trouble, and the way that we have to work together and unify, and be careful with our thoughts and our words, and realize everything is energy and vibration, and that there are cosmic beings out there that believe in the unseen, because the unseen has seen you.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for another brilliant show. We are going to sign off right now. For reaching out to Dr. Chan, we have her information here. Let's see where it is. You can reach her at her email address, which is MadelineCarolChan@gmail.com. You can also follow her on social media by going over to LinkedIn and Instagram, Madeline.Chan.395. Also Facebook, Madeline.Chan.395. And you can follow her on LinkedIn at Colors, and that's the British way of spelling, COLOURS of the Voice, Colors of the Voice, 7A37731. We're gonna have to work on changing that, my dear.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're absolutely right there.
Make it simpler for people. All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you for watching. And please do go over and sign up for the courses. Dr. Chan's worked very hard on the courses and would love to have people starting to awaken. And if you are awakening, awaken some more. Keep that flower blooming. So
I love that. Keep the flower blooming.
All right, everyone. Thank you again. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Bye.